Alright guys, welcome back to another episode. You probably haven't seen the drift car for a while, but we are literally 9 days out of Matsuri, the biggest drift event in Queensland. And for some reason, I've decided to rip this whole engine out, forge the bottom end, put it back in to get a bit more power. So today I do have some help. KP's here and Big Mac's here. Those boys were on the Cape York trip with a Paj. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it down below. So with their help, hopefully we'll get this front end off, and then over the next couple of days, rip the motor out. I've already got a new block ready to get prepped, and then smash it back in. But I'll tell you exactly why forging a motor is better and the benefits and what bits I've used as we go through. But first things first, rip this dog apart, start ripping into it. Alrighty, we can't help ourselves. The sun's going down, the boys are still here, so I'm going to use them while I can. And we're going to rip all the accessories off this thing. So the plan is to use this head, and I've got a new block. I just got it off Facebook Marketplace. Spool imports, we've got a bunch of forged internals, which is the same stuff we use on my 80 series. Gives it a lot more strength to wind the boost up, but I'll tell you more about that when we whack it in. So I'll get the block back from machining, put this head on there, so everything off the top has to come off, cams out, make sure the timing's all set and stays accurate with that. Intake manifold off, turbo, all the front accessories, the sump, pretty much ship it to a short block, and then we can pretty much reassemble it all together, back in the car, make heaps of power. So we're gonna rip into it and get this thing stripped. Alrighty, it is time. We've got the block back. Big shout out to Corey from Dyno Engineering. He did this in like 4 days notice. I'm gonna go through a couple of things. Number one, why I'm forging. Number two, why I'm doing it 4 days out of Matsuri. Can't really answer the second one, that's a dumb idea. But forging a motor, basically I've got a full kit from Spool Imports. Now what that means, forged pistons, forged rods. This is the same setup that I run in the FZ when I built that, and it allows it to take a heap more power. In fact, Sam Young's 80 series with his FZ had the same kit from Spool Imports, and it made over 1,000 horsepower. It's essentially a lot stronger, so the rods are all forged. The pistons, they're still alloy, really lightweight, but machined perfectly, balanced perfectly, and allows you to add a heap more boost without bending a rod and spitting the piston out the bottom of your block. So that in combination with a set of ARP head studs and a really good steel multi-layer head gasket means you can wind the boost up and have no limitation to the strength of the motor. It only comes down to how much boost you want to put in, fuel to match, all that kind of stuff. So for me, the car was slightly underpowered when I'm going drifting in third gear. It wasn't quite getting up to limiter. It was sort of struggling. It was right in that kind of between power where you're second, third gear. So by doing this, it allows me to add another 100 horsepower or so the car should run a whole lot better. So I'm gonna rip into this. I'm actually doing a separate episode on a full complete build with this. I've decided to start doing a few more detailed episodes. So we're gonna have these main ones, but I'm gonna try and throw in some ones extra during the week that's really stripped back, not all crazy editing. It's really just information based, kind of how I used to do it back in the day. So if you wanna jump over and see that, I'll link it down below. But otherwise, we're gonna rip into basically putting this motor together in 1 day and getting in the car ready for the dyno on Thursday. So let's rip into it. Okay, the bottom end is pretty much together now, so that's all been done up. Put the sump on as well, and basically got everything tidied up underneath there. I flipped the motor over and put head studs in. So these are, I think they're just 2000s ARP head stud kit. I don't know what model they are, but instead of a bolt, it's a stud that you basically put in finger tight. A bit of lube on there, just back them off a little bit so they're not in tight, and then you have washers and nuts that go on the end of them. So I've got to put the head gasket on now. Obviously running high boost, you want to do a multi-layer steel head gasket. So I've got one from Cometic here. and torque the dog down. Put the head on, get it all torqued down. There's a specific pattern for that and torque settings. Normally you do a couple of runs and you go around in the pattern that it says to ensure that this head gasket gets spread evenly. Once that's on there, then I'm gonna start looking at cams. Now my cams did arrive. I got a set of Kelford cams. They're only mild, so I shouldn't have to change springs, but the biggest thing is getting them shimmed correctly. So I'll go through that next. But once the head's on, we can pretty much start doing all the front timing set as well and putting all the extras on the accessories. So let's rip into it. Okay, I really wanted to film more of this, but time is against us. So we've got it in now, put most of it up. Just here to put all the body panels and stuff back on. Still needs coolant. We've just put some oil in and just gonna run it over a few times to try and build some oil pressure on the Haltech before we even try to start to fire it. Then see if it fires, make sure timing's not too bad. And then we can add coolant. Exhaust isn't fully on, so we're just gonna add all that as well. Make sure it runs and then fully finish it. And then you want to bed it in. So with new rings, they basically hone the block in a crisscross pattern. So you want to expand the rings as much as you can. So high gear, a lot of load, low RPM. Push those rings out so it actually creates a cutting edge to seat the rings in properly. Otherwise you glaze your bore. Then you get good compression and a little bit of RPM when you first start it. Try and get some oil up to the top end of the motor so your cams are all lubricated and stuff. And then other than that, I need to make sure I check transmission fluid because the heat fell out when we pulled the drive shaft out, but we'll do a few cranks now with no spark and just see if we've got oil pressure. All right, so we end up taking the plugs out and winding it over without any compression. And it took literally probably 45 seconds and then we got some oil pressure. I saw about 30 pound on the dash and then Michael just had the top the oil feed line to the turbo off just to make sure we are actually getting oil pressure. Now we've hooked up power again to the injectors and the spark and we're gonna try and fire it. If it fires, hopefully it runs sweet. We can get the revs up a bit to circulate that oil and then we can put coolant in it, take it for a drive. Alrighty, I can finally get back on the camera, take a little rest and take a breath. I'm handing over to Dan. I'm back down at Simply Tuning. This is where a few episodes ago we tuned the FZ. He's finally finished his dyno room and it looks sick. But this is a bit more about what he's used to doing these sort of drift cars. So gonna run it up. I tried to bed the rings in up the road at mine, but sort of past 2,000-3,000 RPM when a little bit of boost comes on, the Haltech's just turning it off. So I'm trying to sort that issue. Could be earthing issue. Could be some fault codes coming up, so we're gonna work through that. Run it in on the dyno first, then dump the oil and do an oil change to get all that crap that we put in when we built it, like the engine assembly lube and all that. Do a couple of heat cycles, and then we can start tuning. Too terrifying. Too scared to cut the filter open. Right, I'm just gonna open the oil filter. This is where you can tell whether your engine's just absolutely terminal, bits of bearing in there, or it's fairly clean. So obviously when we're doing the oil change, we're changing the filter as well because of all that engine assembly lube, all the crap in there. Just wanna fix it up. Run some shit oil too when you run a motor in. I got some bloody lawnmower stuff. And then because apparently the shit minerals in there help it clean the engine. Right.
That looks nice and glittery.
A few specky bits. Perfect. No chunks. We'll just call that me trying to start it with no oil pressure for a bit. It literally took like 3-4 minutes. We're like, something wrong with the pump?
No, most of that will just be junk that's still in there from last time, but what you really look for is sort of in these little ribs, if there's any big chunks in there, start to get a little concerned, but it all looks really clean.
Second motor I've ever built.
Yeah,
First one hasn't gone bang yet. We'll see how this one goes.
this one looks pretty good. I call that a win.
Whew. Alrighty, oil change is done. It's back on the dyno now, so the running was good, successful. We didn't have anything in the oil filter, which is always good news. A little bit of fleck, but that's fine. I'll probably give it another oil change before we actually go to Matsuri. By the way, we're going to Matsuri tomorrow, so all better go well today. Now we find out whether the cams that I put in are going to work, because obviously they're not perfectly shimmed. We couldn't do that in time, so hopefully we have no compression issues, but we're going to run it up, see what it makes. Dan did recommend to use like a 1060 oil, which is a little bit thicker than what I normally chuck in, so I'm going to try that from now on. Beat E85, I pretty much change oil every time I take it to the track, so let's do a few runs and see how it goes. Alright, so we made plenty more power. The last one was about 480. Now, Dan just said that the boost may have a small leak somewhere, because it was getting to 25 pound, but under full load at the top it drops back down to 19, so there's a bit of a leak somewhere up the top end. Trying to find that, or you can use electronic boost controller to force it past that. He reckons if we can hold that 25 pound, it should do like 515 horsepower, but at 480, that's plenty enough for drifting. To be honest, any more, you'll be snapping axles and doing a heap more damage. So we'll probably leave it there. We might find this leak. If not, we'll just leave it as is and hit the track. Literally Matsuri tomorrow we bump in, Saturday, Sunday on the track all day, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully fry some tires.
Tomorrow.
Morning. I don't know what it is about Matsuri vlogs, but for some reason I always start brushing my teeth. Alright, we're here, Matsuri Spring 2023. Now, two things are different this time. Number one, camping is on the other side of the track. We don't camp near our cars. I don't know how I feel about that, because, well, it's a good camp spot, but it's quite far from where we need to be. Probably all the way over there. And number two, this year we have our own stand. So we've got a build on board stand. So we are selling some merch and stuff as well. So I'm gonna go over there and start setting up. But this is the first event that I'm doing with the new forged motor. I haven't even driven it yet. I haven't even done a pull. So fingers crossed it stays together. But if it does, I'm gonna have a heap more power and a heap more fun. So let's go get set up at our stand, start the day. Come on. Oh, yeah. All right, people are starting to wake up now. The stand is half together. Putting some stuff. These boys are camping with us. What is this?
Crazy cart.
Crazy cart.
Well.
All right, how does it work? Handbrake, which
Handbrake.
lifts something. Alright, so we did do a couple of specific items for Drift Matsuri. There's a new shirt, we've done some stickers, and we also done these number plates, which are pretty sweet. So I'll show you my favourite one, is this one. My other ride is your mum. So a few plates, got a new shirt as well, some stickers. That suits me, fun is illegal, of course. Alrighty, first run's done. It's getting real hot, which is weird. By the time I started a track, normal temps, by the end of just that one lap, coolant's at like 106. Intake temps are about 74, which is weird. Like, intercooler's working, that's cold, but that's hottish. So, I think the turbo's working too hard. Two things I'm gonna do. One is try and bleed more air out of the cooling system to fix that. I'll whack a bottle on here and try and bleed the bubbles out. RBs are bad for that. Two, the turbo's obviously working a lot harder, creating too much heat, so I might wind the boost down a couple of winds. The fuel will compensate that, but it's got like almost too much at the top end, but it's because it's getting so hot, it doesn't need that power. So if I come in a bit, it's pushing like 30 pound a boost, bring it down to about 25, and then it should be, hopefully, keep it a bit cooler. How did you go?
Oh, I gotta get the race control.
What did you do?
I don't know. They're like, first off, they're like, oh, you don't have windows. And I'm like, I've come to every event and I don't run windows, it's fine. And then I did a big run. And then next minute they're like, oh, you gotta see race control. So I don't know if I've hit a cone or drifting where I shouldn't be.
Or windows is the problem.
Yeah, they said, yeah, I can't run windows.
Dude, that's
So yeah, I know, it's rough, eh? So I've gotta go, suss them out, and yeah.
Alright, let's see what happens. I'm gonna go see Mika. Now Mika's got a YouTube channel. Fun fact, my brother bought a new Z body and was Googling about the car, came across the YouTube channel, and it was her old car. So Zach bought her old car, she's built a new S chassis with a 1J. Got a little 1J plate for her. See how her first run went. Hello! Hi. Just shoving the camera in your face.
How you doing?
How's the first run?
I don't know, it's not boosting.
Oh, real? Issues already?
I don't know, I just want to check if we've tightened everything.
I got you a plate.
Oh, thank you.
You can stick it like right there.
Yeah, I will. Oh yeah, it's just my exhaust rack. I was wondering why I was smoking so much.
Yeah. Also, why did you lose your armband?
No, I got it still. He was like, you can't drift in transit in like turn 3. I was like, I'm just following morning session rules.
Oh, yeah.
But this is my magic wand. It makes everything good, makes everything cool. Spray it in here. And keeps the motor cool.
Is it just water?
Yeah, and it's just a Budding's garden sprayer. Just doing some
Why is it getting hot though? That's the question. Okay, it's one of those things where I've just completely enjoyed the day and filmed nothing, but last minute I decided to come to the big entry comp because I blew a power steering belt, came in to fix it, and everyone was lining up, but I got it fixed. I'm like, bugger it, went out, I was the last car, and the guy said I came in all right, but just didn't have enough speed and basically stopped and spun out, but I had good angle, good speed coming in, and I think I just need lock now. Now the motor's sweet, a new lock kit would help me actually be able to get those big angles. But yeah, gave it a shot, gave it a send. I don't know if anyone got any footage, no one was filming, that's fine. I hope to try and give this camera to someone to get some shots, but the next thing is a little break, and then we're probably going to do some night drifting because the track's open till like 10 PM tonight. So good. How was your big send? Third gear?
Third gear.
Oh, I haven't mentioned that. Michael is doing a gearbox swap tonight. Something different. Hey?
I'm gonna get a gearbox now.
Lost fourth gear.
Gearbox and put her in, and hopefully we got fourth gear.
Trix had just a belt sitting there for me. I was like, sick.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna go to Gateway Motorway, so 50 minutes from here.
You found one?
Yeah, 2-hour round trip.
Okay, alright, I'll help you.
It'll take like 30 minutes.
Yeah, bro, get up and stand. Say he was going to put it on with a soak. Gearbox swap's about to happen under here. Pretty clever little way to do it, to be honest.
One eternity later.
I was too busy fixing my fucking brake line, I missed all the action. Tell me that's the old one.
That's the old one.
Holy shit, it's already been swapped. I missed the whole thing.
Yeah, alright, well, so far the boys did a great job. I only just got here.
So you rocked up and it's in.
I rocked up and it was out.
Yeah, put it in.
And then I got here and we're chucking it in. So we're going to be back on track tonight.
What is it, like 4 bolts and a drive shaft?
Drive shaft, exhaust, bell housing bolts, fair bit. It wasn't a 30-minute job like I said.
Alright, I might wrap the episode up there. So the last thing we saw was you getting your gearbox in. Little did you know, a couple hours later,
I went out, one lap with the new box, diff just exploded. So we put a new diff in it this morning. It's just been a hell of a weekend for me.
Yeah, but the cars are still running, mine hasn't blown up.
So we just changed another set of tyres and pretty much ran out the Sunday. But I didn't get too much footage of actual driving. I'm gonna try and pinch some stuff off phones and that, but Matsuri's one of those events you just want to enjoy it, so. He's got another one. We got the old tyre truck. Look how many tyres we've gone through.
I need to change my fronts because I cracked the rim.
Oh, how'd you do that?
Oh, that's all you, Mark. Just deep-bed and it's crap.
Oh my lord, how'd you do that?
I don't even know. I didn't hit anything, I was just on
Didn't
track.
hit anything?
I was just on track.
Bit of blue tackle.